What's going on, everybody? It's Bim, and today I'm going to rank the Remembrance bosses from the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Starting off this list, we have the Divine Peace Dancing Lion. I'm going to put him in B tier. This would be the first major boss fight you find, and it's part of the few 4 bosses that actually have cutscenes. The boss design is really sick, and the OST is just epic, and the fight is a fast-paced masterpiece, which I really like about it. I do have my gripes against this guy, but the most annoying part of this fight has to be the camera. When it does a spinning attack, blowing out whatever element he's on, the camera just doesn't let you see where the attack is, and you're going to get hit if you're too close because you won't be able to see anything. Pretty challenging fight for a first boss, but overall, it is pretty fun. Next up is Rolana, Twin Moon Knights. She's also going to be in B tier. I really wish she had a cutscene. She's supposedly the sister of Renala, so you think FromSoft would play a cool video of her having some millennia-like lines wanting to protect Mesmer, but no. They didn't put cutscenes in a lot of these bosses fights for some reason. A lot of them do deserve it. This fight, in my opinion, is millennia level in difficulty. I did die to her over 100 times before I let my pride go and summon Matsui the jumper carrying ass. Her attacks are really hard to dodge since she can just roll catch you or jump to the side you roll and cut off your head afterwards. Her second form is where she shines though. It is by far my favorite part of her fight with her magic and flame swords. Her OC is also really good, and the violin went off in it. It was so good. I also like the Renala OST mixing it around 55 seconds into the soundtrack. The moves she has are cool and visually amazing. She would be higher if I didn't hold a grudge against her. I will be refighting her though in my next playthrough, and after that we'll see if I have a different opinion, if it improves or worsens. We'll see. Next up is a Putrescent Knight. Surprisingly, I did enjoy this fight more than the other two. My biggest gripe against it is to walk up through the fucking anal bead enemy sniping you and flailing at me was the worst experience I've ever had walking up to a boss fight. And once I get past that, I just got even more confused of the pet cemetery just sitting there. The drop to this boss is also a nice touch, but for it being the protector of Saint Trina, it really should have had a cutscene, bro. The fight is very fun with it being really telegraphed. The only annoying part of it was when it sent ice fire at you constantly. It was basically the only thing I died to. But in the end, I did use a shield to block those flames and just completely steamroll the boss. Like I said, very telegraphed fight. It is also a really long boss fight, but I guess it makes sense since the boss has very high health and the difficulty of it is not that bad. It is probably the easiest boss in the DLC. Well, the easiest Remembrance boss. The OST was also pretty good, but the others just completely beat it. Next up is one of the best bosses in the DLC, and it is Mesmer the Impaler. Easy S tier. The cutscene going in was so sick, but the one where he transformed just topped it so hard. Personally, didn't have a ton of struggles with this fight since he leaves a ton of attack openings for you to get a couple hits off. I feel like I did beat him too quickly though, and I don't even know how to dodge every single attack. His Spear Flurry is one of the attacks I still don't know how to dodge. But even with that, he's still one of my favorite bosses, with the fight in short being tough but very fair, and I love it for that. His second phase is also really fun. It feels like you're in a dance avoiding his spear. Then you attack. Oh shit, there's a giant snake coming at me. Let me dodge that a few times and attack again. And you just repeat that movement throughout the entire fight. Because of that, it's a really fun fight. His OST makes me feel like I'm fighting the god of hell with how thrilling it is. The choir was outstanding, which is why he's going to be S tier. And here's probably my least favorite Remembrance boss. Easy F or D tier, I don't know. Honestly, D tier. I think D tier is fine. This dude, Commander Guys, he's just a Radon wannabe. The charge attack he does is borderline undodgeable unless you get that pixel perfect roll, which I only got once on my first attempt and I never got it after that. I just swapped back to the Bloodhound stash and it became a cakewalk. His combo where the boar attacks, then Gaius attacks, and it goes on a few times is honestly probably my favorite part of the fight. It is a really fun sequence to go through. But in short, he's a budget Radon, but 100 times worse. Baal the Dread is probably my favorite boss in the entire DLC. He just drops down on you when you first enter the arena And after that, you know the fight is going to be fucking amazing. Not only is it cinematic as fuck, like holy shit, his phase 2 is peak Elden Ring. Lord Miyazaki, you've done it once again. The NPC you can summon, Egon. By the way, if you haven't summoned him, you're missing out. He has arguably the best voice lines in the entire game. Every single time you summon him, he just screams, "Curse you, Bale!" And it's the most epic shit ever. Not only do I love the fight, the OST is my second favorite, just behind by a smidge. A cutscene like Placidus Axe would have made it a bit too epic. Speaking of cutscenes, the next S tier, Midra, Lord of Frenzied Flame. The cutscene of this fight is really good. Really good. It gives me chills every single time I see it. The design is just absolutely phenomenal. If we didn't kill him, who's to say that he wouldn't have destroyed the entire world? I love how you can just smack him around like a living corpse, like a cat playing with a mouse before he transforms into one of the best bosses and strongest enemies lore-wise in the entire game. He's number 2 in my top 3, by the way, you know, just behind Bale. Bale's just, of course, better. This fight is extremely telegraphed, which made it really fun. The part where you have to avoid getting stricken by the madness is also a fun hurdle in the fight. The only move I dislike, and dislike is a strong word, but his laser beam machine gun madness attack is crazy, bro. I don't even know how to dodge it yet. The OST is one of the best in the DLC, and I'd even argue it to be better than Mesmer's. Mesmer's was thrilling and divine, but this one, I felt like I was fighting the most evil being alive. Which, I mean, I guess I was, because, you know, Lord of Frenzied Flame, it makes sense. And now we have, honestly, I expected more from this guy. Erdtree Avatar. I'm gonna put him in B tier. I don't personally have much to say about this fight since I did beat it first try, like I said. The flower bud is extremely fragile and really weak to fire, which I did take advantage of. The boss does have 3 phases, which I got spoiled on. If not, I would have been like, oh, this boss is way too easy. Oh shit, wait, there's a second health bar? Man, surely this is it. Nah, there's a third. No wonder it had no health. But that poor weed got burned and died very quickly. I was honestly disappointed, bro. I was told he was hard, but that was not the case. The OST is very good. It sounds like a darker version of the Erdtree Avatar theme, which is a really cool touch. Then up next is the so to be said sister of the Elden Beast, Meteor, Mother of Fingers, going in A tier. Surprisingly, I know. A lot of people didn't really enjoy it, but this fight was honestly really good. But the biggest fucking downside about this motherfucker, it's the reason those hand enemies, those fucking disgraceful nightmarish creatures exist. You know, that's the worst part about this boss. This boss is honestly very good, but it is insanely weak to bleed. You can just get a few attacks in, like 3, and then you get a blood loss. And then you just repeat that over and over, and the fight just ends in 2 minutes. The attacks are okay, but it is mostly carried by visuals, and the visuals in this fight are some of the best. The arena is as if it's underwater, and it looks fucking beautiful, but it's not as beautiful as the OST. The OST is heavenly, serene even. It feels like I'm traveling the cosmos and truly in a god's presence. It is my favorite OST in the DLC, and maybe my favorite out of the entire game. Now we have the Queen of Scarlet Rot, Romana, Saint of the Bud. I'm gonna put her in B tier. Instead of casting aside the rot like Melania did, Romana embraced it and is rightfully the Scarlet Queen. The rot aspect in this fight was kind of annoying though, but it was not that much of a hassle if you didn't get hit. Her moves are surprisingly telegraphed, so it wasn't much of an issue. The best move she has is the one with the sound cue, and it's extremely satisfying to dodge. I wish she had a cutscene since she is protecting the tree you need to burn down in order to enter the final area, so that's kind of disappointing. The OST also sounds a lot like Melania's, which is very cool, and even plays homage to her second phase halfway through it. And now, second to last fight, Needle Knight Lita and her allies, putting that in A tier. This fight is in my number 3 spot for the best. The difficulty of this fight depends on what NPC quests you did. Since I did them all, every single NPC you meet in the beginning of the game is there, and You all have a Captain America Civil War like battle. It is so epic. The voice lines with the NPCs all beefing with each other is the best part of the fight. If you didn't already do the quests and summon them for the fight, you will not regret it, trust me, but you gotta do them before you beat Romana. Well, not beat her, but before you burn down the tree to the last area. The worst part of this fight is that you're forced to kill my boy Moore. It's so sad, bro. Whatever you do not do his quest. Leave my boy alone. Trust me, you do not want to go through that grief of killing him. Freya was by far the most honorable one there, and I'm glad we fulfilled her dream of dying in a glorious battle fighting a lord. And last up, we have Radahn, Miquella's promised consort. He's going in A tier. The first phase of this fight is the definition of the calm before the storm. It goes from a fun telegraphed fair fight to a god descending down onto you with fucking shadow clones. You can create annoying ass beams of light out of the ground every move he does, and if you get hit by one of them, you're screwed. Well, shit, you're getting hit by the entire combo now, and it's GG's. In all realistness, after 8 hours of dread fighting this guy, I finally learned his moves in his second phase, and it became a very fun and challenging battle. I think he's overhated and deserves more praise. He is also the hardest boss FromSoft has ever made, so it's extremely rewarding when you beat him solo no matter what your build. I ended up using a parry build, and it made me enjoy the fight way more than straight up dodging and attacking constantly. His OST makes me feel like I'm actually facing the final boss, and I mean, I guess I was facing the final boss, you know, but like, you know what I mean. The soundtrack was just phenomenal and godly, and I can listen to it forever. Even though I might get PTSD from him just landing down on you and just killing you over and over for 10 hours straight, but hey, still a good fight. But yeah, that's my personal tier list for the Remembrance bosses of the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Let me know your opinions and where you would personally put the bosses down in the comments below. Anyway, that's going to be it from me for today, so I'll see you guys later.
Love